Tigers. He runs well, 1,630 yards rushing. When you think about Katy, they run as well as anybody in the entire state of Texas. Garrett Dorn runs the show with the passing of 1,423 yards. But on the flip side, Travell Lumpkin, keep an eye out for him. 1,007 yards rushing, 16 TDs, replacing Bryson Denley, who's been out a couple of weeks now, got injured in the Del Rio game. So Lumpkin gets the chance to show what he can do. And I tell you what, when Xavier Martin's running the show at quarterback, Steele's in good shape.
It's been a great week of weather in the state of Texas, except for today. A front is coming through. We've got cloudy skies, windy conditions that may play a factor in today's ball game. Stay tuned. We'll have the starting lineups and the opening kickoff for today's ball game right after this timeout. Get away.
Guys, the storyline to watch today is Xavier Martin, the quarterback for Cibilo Steele. A couple weeks ago, he hurt his ankle. Now, last week, Katy faced a mobile quarterback in De'Ara King. They wanted to keep him in the pocket. Typically, you'd want to do that with Martin, but today, that may be different. Watching him before the game, he didn't move around throwing the ball much. He didn't allow power driving off his back leg. If I'm Katy, I come after him and see if I can move him off the spot. It's important and pertinent that Cibilo Steele's offensive line keep Katy out of his feet and away from his feet. That way Martin can throw and find his big receiver, number 7, Antoine Cox-Wesley. Guys?
All right, John, thanks very much. We've had the coin toss for today's ball game. Katy won the toss, elected to defer. Cibilo Steele will take the opening kickoff, defending the north end zone to our left and work into that strong southerly wind at 15 to 20 miles per hour. So they'll go on the attack first. And as John mentioned, we'll see exactly what Xavier Martin is capable of doing in tonight's ball game. And he'll have to do it against that very, very tough Katy Tiger defense, which on the season has allowed under 5 points per game. There's the official weather forecast, 17-mile-per-hour winds. Scattered rain off and on. It's really more of a nuisance rain than anything that's going to affect the play in today's ball game so far. We'll hope it'll stay that way so these two teams can compete for the championship.
I think we've got ourselves a great matchup, and as John mentioned, Xavier Martin with 673 yards rushing. That could certainly be one of the keys, whether or not he can get mobile out there. But the 2,048 yards passing, very impressive. Passing today is going to be tough, no question about it. Both these teams coming off some good wins.
Chris Perez to kick it away, coming toward the near sideline. It will hit deep in the end zone and go on out. And so the Steele Knights, led by Xavier Martin, will go on the attack. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. You see Martin on the season, very good numbers, 69% completion rate, over 2,000 yards of passing, 22 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions. He knows how to take care of the football, and that'll be vital in today's ball game against these Katy Tigers.
Keep in mind, Steele's been tested the last couple of weeks. They beat Clemens last week 35-14. Prior to that, beat Del Rio 28-10.
From the shotgun formation, Lumpkin off on the left shoulder, and Martin's going to throw on first down, tipped and almost intercepted. Skying for the play was Hunter Stinson, the linebacker, as he was looking for Cox-Wesley. Here's the starting lineups for the Steele Knights, dressed in black and white. See the offensive line, Logan Toini centering things in the middle for them. On second down, another pass deflected down at the line of scrimmage. And Katy getting their arms up in the face of Xavier Martin. Back-to-back incompletions, both touched by the defense.
So important for Steele to come out and try to do something here offensively on their first drive. And so far, 2 consecutive plays here by Katy where they've just literally thwarted the pass, knocked it down.
Michael Modis knocking that one down at the line of scrimmage. So now it's 3rd down and 10. And we get flags before the snap. False start against Steele, so the Knights not starting the way head coach Scott Lenhoff would like his team to do. And you see him there on the sideline trying to settle his boys down.
And what did he tell us earlier this week? So important to get off to a good start. Well, here you go, 3rd and long.
Not what you want to do against this Katy defense. 4-man rush. Martin throws into the deep wind for Cox-Wesley. He had it and dropped it at the 45-yard line in Katy territory. Boy, oh boy, Martin dropped that ball right in there nicely. But Wesley could not bring it in. Watch it here.
So close. Cox-Wesley somehow drops this ball, gets tipped away at the last second.
I think Colin Wilder got a hand in there to knock it away. DC Blades also there on the coverage.
Tom, how about Steele coming out? Pass, pass, pass. A little bit of a surprise there.
Especially into the wind. So now a punting situation for Brendan Brady. Mullins and Wilder drop back on the Steele side of midfield. Brady knocks it out of there, a wobbler. Taken by Wilder. He's on the run at the 30. And he'll be upended at the 24-yard line. Great starting position for the Katy Tigers. Big punt return there by Colin Wilder.
Well, Scott Linoff said they have to weather the storm. This punt doesn't go quite the distance they want into the wind. Katy gets great field position, the 24-yard line of Steele to get started.
Steele had the ball for exactly 28 seconds on 3 incomplete passes.
Garrett Dorn, he's been the story this year for them, 2,295 yards passing, starting now for his 3rd year.
Kyle Porter up the middle, and he'll get about 4 to the 20-yard line. He'll be covered up there by Quincy Williams, the defensive tackle. Here's the Katy starting lineup. Cole Shannon in the middle.
Starts with that offensive line right there.
Big, strong left tackle. Kyle Porter, the running back. Kyle Williams, the fullback. Mullins and Angulo, the wide receivers. 2nd down, 6. Doran gonna throw, has a man at the 5 for the end zone touchdown. Angulo, G.C. Angulo in for the touchdown. And just like that, Katy's jumped out to a 6-0 lead.
Angulo was wide open on the top of your screen. He makes the catch and takes it into the end zone. What a great start for Katy. That's what they're looking for. So many times this year, they've jumped out to big leads in the first quarter. That's their MO, and that's something Steele can ill afford to have happen.
We haven't had time to show you the keys to the game, but you'll see what the #1 key is for both teams. Chris Perez with a point after makes it a 7-0 Katy lead. Here's the touchdown again.
Dorn with a beautifully thrown ball towards the sideline. Nice little fake move there into the end zone. J.C. Angulo. Yeah, celebrate. Great job.
Caden Stearns late getting over from the safety spot to cover up as Angulo gets the touchdown. Let's take a look at those keys to the game. For Katy, they wanted to start fast. Well, they've got it.
Yeah.
Just over a minute into the ball game. They're up 7-0. Take care of the football, convert scoring chances. When you start down deep, you better get points. They got it. For Steele, weather the start. Well, they haven't done that so far. When they have the ball, they need to score touchdowns, not settle for field goals, and don't make mistakes on special teams. Well, they gave up a big punt return that put Katy in prime position on the opening possession of the game.
You know, keep in mind, Dorn at quarterback, he's polished now. You know, he's been at it for well over 2 years. You might remember he replaced Kylie Huddleston, who got injured back in 2012 when they played Steele, ironically enough.
That scoring drive, if you're keeping score at home, 2 plays, 24 yards, and it took all of 36 seconds. So Chris Perez will tee it up right in the X at the 40-yard line. So we get set. Trying to make sure the ball stays steady on the tee with that strong wind blowing at its back. Back deep for the Steele Knights. Isaiah Fields goes over his head and out the back of the end zone. And once again, starting at the 25-yard line will be the Steele Knights. So let's see if Xavier Martin and company can do a better job of starting a drive than they did the first time they had the football. 3 incomplete passes and out.
I think they'll go back to the run now, and that's what they're known for. They've done that a lot in the postseason. That is their bread and butter. But of course, Bryson Denley getting hurt in that Del Rio game does not help the situation. Brendan Brady's been filling in at fullback.
Saw the team huddle around offensive coordinator Steve Driffel before they went on the field. Running play, Lumpkin. Not much room as he goes around the left end and got upended. Patty Fisher, their outstanding inside linebacker, making the stop after a gain of a yard, maybe 2. Let's take a look here at the Katy defense. It's a 3-4 defense. Corey Bethley has been coming on each and every game for the Tigers. The 4 linebackers are outstanding. Patty Fisher, the spiritual leader, in the middle. On 2nd down, Martin's going to run. No trouble running here to the far sideline and out of bounds before Stinson can get him. They'll mark him out at about the 37-yard line.
A little gingerly on that right foot, but he picks up the first down. I think that's the one thing. If he can run the football, that'll be a big key for them today. Katy's not really counting on that because Martin's been dinged up.
10 yards for Martin on that run, and he didn't look bad at all, so maybe he was playing possum during those pregame warm-ups, not wanting to show Katy what he would be capable of. From the 37, 1st and 10, Lumpkin over the left side again, and again, not much room, only a couple of yards. And you see the sea of white jerseys making the tackle. Colin Wilder there leading the charge.
Well, the one thing Gary Joseph told us earlier this week, the one word that sums up his defense is unselfish. When they get out there on the field, they play as a team. They've got an outstanding linebacker crew, great secondary help, and they get it done with their down linemen. They don't have to blitz that often.
2nd down, 8 from the 39. Martin gonna throw, has him at the 45, and he'll have a first down up near midfield. Making the catch, the tight end, Trey Armstrong.
Armstrong finding a seam, makes the catch, first down. Beautifully thrown ball right over the middle. Quick passes will help Steele today.
Brendan Boyd making the tackle after a pickup of 11 to midfield. So this is what the doctor ordered for the Steele Knights to come back and answer Katy's score with a drive. Running play to the right this time for Lumpkin, and he's got no place to go. Leading the charge was the nose tackle, Joey Woodring, and then the help came. And they'll stop him right by the line of scrimmage, a loss of 1, as a matter of fact, back to the 49.
Yeah, great defensive effort across the board there. Hunter Stinson also for the Tigers on the play there. Spread that ball out to the outside. Joey Woodring, number 96, he gets it done in that defensive tackle position. Katy always has great DTs.
His 4th tackle for loss on the season. 2nd and 11, throw it on the outside. This is C.J. Williams, and he'll be spun down at about the 44-yard line. Making the tackle on the outside was Keegan Ati. And we had a Katy defender take a hard spill into the bench on the far side, but he's okay.
You know, C.J. Williams, 885 yards receiving, the leading receiver as far as yards. Antoine Cox-Wesley, 663, right up there with him.
6-yard pickup makes it 3rd down and 5, Steele. 2 receivers near side. Martin gonna throw on the near side. Has Cox-Wesley, but a short tackle by Travis Willock will prevent him from getting the first down. They'll give him progress to the 41. He's gonna be about a yard short.
Well, the quick pass right there, Wesley did the most important thing, which was catch the football, but they are about a yard short of the first down marker, and it will bring up 4th and 1.
And it looks as though the offense is gonna stay on the field for Steele. They'll go for it here, trailing 7-0. 7:35 to play in the opening quarter. Williams in motion. Martin rolls, throws for Williams. Did he catch it? No! Couldn't bring it in at the 37-yard line. The ball was a little wide to the outside, and Katy will take over on downs. Timeout on the field. 7 minutes, 29 seconds to play opening quarter. 6A Division II semifinal, and Katy has the early lead. Alamo Stadium in San Antonio, 7-0 is the early lead for the Katy Tigers. Katy will take over from their own 41-yard line, stopping the Steele drive on downs.
Steele now 0 for 2 on 3rd downs. Keep an eye on that statistic today. That will be important. 3rd down conversions for the Knights.
Garrett Doran under center, I formation. Handoff is to Porter, broke 1 tackle. And will fight his way to the 45-yard line for a 4-yard pickup.
Katy likes to run the football between the tackles. That's one of their strengths. They've had some lopsided scores this year, even in district play. 84-0 in one game. Beat MacArthur in the postseason 62, or check that, beat
the West Side 77-0, Friendswood 66-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doran rolls out on 2nd down, throws on the near sideline, diving catch by Tony Mullins at the 41 in Steele territory. Good for a gain of 14 yards and a 1st and 10.
Yeah, great play action play there. Fake the run, look for the man downfield. Beautifully thrown ball. And how about the catch right there in the corner by Tony Mullins? Fantastic. Great crowd on hand here. They are fired up.
Both sides of the field filled in nicely at Alamo Stadium. Porter with a run on first down, trying to go over the right side. Will only get forward for a couple of yards. See if we can check in with John Harris down on the sideline and see what he's picked up in the early going. John?
Guys, Katy is absolutely setting up the pass with the run. If you're going to beat Katy, you got to make plays. Williams could not make that catch, but Mullins with a great catch on the sideline. That touchdown by J.C. Angulo caught Steele in halves coverage, and Stearns, the safety, didn't get off his hash. He's got to get off his hash and cover that deep ball.
Thank you, John. We're at 2nd down and 7 from the 38-yard line for Katy. They're in Steele territory with a 7-0 lead. Doran going to throw again on the near sideline, overthrew his intended receiver. Looking here for Jackson Borowski, but it was well overthrown. And he was well covered as well by Deshaun Moore.
So a big 3rd and 7 play here as we look at the Knights starting lineup here. Starts that defensive line.
Mark Johnson and Josh Crossland have both had big years for the Knights in the front. Great linebackers, Ivory and Jackson, over 120 tackles apiece. And in the secondary, Mark Frankhauser is the veteran. 3rd down and 7 now for Katy. Running play for Porter. He runs up in the middle and runs into a stone wall for the Steele defense. Only got a couple of yards to the 35. It's going to be 4th down and about 4. It'll be interesting to see what Gary Joseph will do here.
I think you go for it in this situation, but he is going to bring the special teams unit onto the field. Looks like they're going to set up for a punt. Hit him back deep.
Got to be careful with the wind at your back that you don't punt this thing too far. That's the one danger. Oh, we're going to try a field goal. 52 yards for Chris Perez.
Wow.
He's got a 51-yarder on the season. This will be 52 with the wind at his back right in the middle of the field. Good snap and hold. He's got plenty of distance, and this baby is no good. Wide to the left. Man, he would have made that from 65. So Steele weathers the storm, and it remains a 7-0 Katy lead. 4:54 to play here. Opening quarter. 6A Division II state semifinal game.
Well, Gary Joseph didn't waste any time rushing him out there onto the field. As you said, he's already made a 51-yarder this year and could have made that one from 60. So, and I think a lot of that goes with the fact that I mentioned earlier the scores. A lot of those scores for Katy this year, there's zeros on the other side. The defense for Katy has been sensational. Lots of shutouts.
Let's see what Steele can do here. 1st and 10. Running play for Lumpkin over the right side, and Boyd stands him up and shoves him back after a 2-yard gain to the 37-yard line.
Katy has shut out 9 teams, and Katy Taylor scored a field goal on them. They had 3, the Woodlands with only 7. It's kind of been the season. Why? Because they get good pressure up front. Great defensive line. They don't have to blitz. They have a great secondary.
Well, that's what Scott Lenoff says. He's a Katy's big advantage is with their front 5, those 3 down linemen and the 2 inside linebackers. He says they have an advantage over every team with those 5 guys, and you see it on display today. 2nd and 10. Martin had a hard time corralling the snap. Will just keep and run it out of bounds at the 40-yard line. It will set up a 3rd down and 5 for Steele. Stop the clock with 4:11 to go here in the opening quarter.
Well, keep in mind, Tom, Steele, they've been battle tested as well. I mean, Judson's still alive. They're playing today, of course. Steele beat them earlier this year in a district game. And that game had a lot of rain, too.
At an hour and a half rain delay. Martin's going to throw over the middle, has the tight end Armstrong. He'll have the 1st down out at the 49-yard line. Tackle made by Colin Wilder.
So they get the pass completion here. Just trying to move the chains. They're picking up the necessary yardage to get the 1st down. They know exactly where they need to get to. Beautifully done, well executed.
So a new set of downs for Steele as they look for their first points of the day near midfield. Lumpkin with a run, tripped up in the hole and brought down after a 1-yard gain. Patty Fisher across the line of scrimmage to take his ankles out from underneath.
Yeah, Patty Fisher, one of the star players here for Katy, and you saw him last week against Manville. I mean, what a sensational performance. When he's on the field, his presence is felt.
16 tackles in that game against Manville a week ago and 1 sack. Missed 7 games this year because of injury, and Gary Joseph said he means so much to that team out on the field. 2nd and long, Martin's going to tuck it and run. Got room up the middle. Inside the 35, down near the 30, the ball came out. Katy recovered. Now is he down, though? I think they're going to rule Martin down at the 31-yard line. Watch it again.
Yeah, that's the initial call by the officials. But how about Martin showing the speed here? Great burst of speed, bad ankle and all. And I think he was down 19 yards on that pickup.
Blades made the tackle. It was Wilder who went in there and tried to go for the strip as he was going by at the 35. And we've got Cody Massey in the ball game now for Steele, so we'll have to keep an eye on Martin to see if that ankle's bothering him after that run. So Massey on first down, going to throw near sideline for Wesley. Jump ball, broke it up at about the 7-yard line. Right there on coverage was Travis Willick.
This is a play that's worked for Steele all season long. Antoine Cox Wesley, he's so tall, usually goes to the highest point and makes a catch. That ball was a little bit underthrown, and Cox Wesley, by the time he turned around, could not make the catch.
And you see Xavier Martin walking on the near sideline. He aggravated that ankle on that 19-yard run. So Cody Massey, the junior, takes over at quarterback. On 2nd and 10, Lumpkin with a run, hitting the hole. He got a yard, maybe two. Fisher, the first guy to make contact with him. His helmet came off. Willick covered him up after a short gain. It's going to be third down and long.
He'll have to come off the field. Here's the play when Martin got hurt. Watch his ankles at the very end of the play. Watch the right ankle.
Right there.
It's just any kind of pressure whatsoever will be a problem for him. He was injured in the Del Rio game, and it's just not been the same since. He's been very gingerly at practice and trying to take it easy on that ankle.
Well, he didn't practice at all last week, and they refused to allow him to run last week's game. Massey throws, trying to set up the screen. Nothing doing. Broken up. Loose ball. Brady with a catch. The recovery by Boyd, and it belongs to the Katy Tigers.
That's a big-time hit right there.
Turnover will give the ball back to Katy when we return. 2 minutes, 13 seconds to play. First quarter. Katy with a 7-0 lead over Steele. .2:13 left in the opening quarter. Katy taking over after forcing a turnover. Short pass to Brendan Brady. Big hit made by the Katy defense. Knocked the ball free, and 1st and 10 for Katy. Pump fake for Doran. He's in trouble. Going to scramble out, and he'll be hit behind the line of scrimmage and dropped for a loss of 2. Coming up to make the tackle, the two linebackers, Jaden Jackson and J.C. Ivory.
Watch Ivory kind of finish him off here. He's the one that pops him in the front right there. That hurts. That'll leave a little bruise. Trying to jar that ball loose. He kind of slapped his hands thinking, oh, I thought I was going to get a fumble right there.
Big hit from Corey Bethley that knocked the ball loose from Brady that set up the fumble recovery for Katy. 2nd down and a dozen. Offset eye in the backfield with Porter the deep back, and he's got the handoff. Up the middle he goes, and will get close to the 35-yard line before he'll be brought down. Let's take a look at the remaining teams here in 6A, Division II. Mansfield and Lake Travis playing right now as well, 7-7. Katy with the early 7-0 lead.
I've had a chance to see both Mansfield and Lake Travis. What a couple of fine football teams. We've got a really good Final Four this year, no question about it.
The ball at the 34-yard line, 3rd down and 7 for Katy.
NRG Stadium next week, folks. All the championship games.
Doran looks left, throws right, not fooling the defense of Steele. Making the tackle on Angulo is Jaden Jackson for a loss. Well, they're going to call it no gain, back to the 34-yard line, so it's going to be 4th down and 7 in a punting situation.
Textbook tackle right there by Jaden Jackson. Wrapped him up, threw him down. 4th down here for Katy. So a big defensive stop there by Steele after they had turned the ball over offensively.
And he did it low. He went for the waist down to tie him up. Didn't go for the big hit, just put him down on the ground.
I'd like to see that.
Michael Vasquez to punt. Towering kick all the way back to the 10-yard line. And a fair catch made there by Caden Stearns. And check it, that was Modis with the kick. Michael Modis, the defensive end. And boy, he kicked that one forever. 64 yards on the punt. And put Steele in a hole back at their own 10-yard line with 9 seconds to play here in the first quarter.
And Caden Stearns, he kind of looked like He wasn't sure if he'd called a fair catch or not. I know he had some room to run.
Then he heard the whistles. He said, oh, better stop right here. Scott Lenoff trying to get his team to get on track here. Took an early punch from Katy, scoring just over a minute into the game. So from the 10, Lumpkin is bottled up and thrown for a loss. Stinson leading the charge there from the linebacker spot, and that'll be the last play of the first quarter. So Katy scores in the first minute of the game, and that's where we are now. The Tigers with a 7-0 lead over the Steele Knights as we head for period number 2. Seven nothing, Katy with the lead. Let's go on the sideline. John Harris, what have you seen in the first quarter here, John?
Defense has calmed down and has started to make some plays and started to stop Katy's run game. But what can the offense do without Xavier Martin? That's going to be the key. Watch this matchup. Number 7, Cox Wesley at receiver against Travis Willock. A safety is going to cover him man-to-man. That's where you saw the pass breakup down on the far end. Watch that matchup because that's probably the way that Cibilo Steele is going to have to move the football against Katy.
This time Steele has the win at their back here in the second quarter. They face 3rd down and 8 for the 12-yard line. Throwing on the outside, almost intercepted, looking for Cox Wesley and pounding the turf. Travis Willock, just as John pointed out, they put a safety on an outstanding receiver, and Willock has been all over Cox Wesley so far.
Yeah, Willock making up some ground right there. Then at this point decides I'm going to go for it and try to get the interception. Got his hands on it, could not quite make the catch, but did the most important thing, which was knock it away.
So Brendan Brady, who had the fumble the last time Steele had the ball, will punt with the wind at his back. Wilder in the center of the field, Mullins toward the near sideline. High snap, kind of a rugby kick, way up in the air for Brady. And Mullins calls for the fair catch at the Katy 48-yard line.
That ball was up there forever for Tony Mullins. And
40-yard punt.
You see where Steele had some good coverage down the field as well, but no question the field position battle so far has definitely been won by Katy, thanks in part to their defense.
Well, in the first quarter, Steele was 67 yards to Katy's 51, but Katy only needed to go 24 yards for their lone score of the game. Garrett Doran 3 of 4 in the first quarter for 35 yards and a touchdown. Kyle Porter with 5 rushes for 19 yards as Katy puts their hands on the ball for the first time here in the second quarter with a 7-0 lead. Working into the win for the first time. Toss sweep left for Porter. Upended right near the line of scrimmage. And coming up to make the tackle, J.C. Ivory.
A lot of black helmets to the ball right here. Look at the pursuit on defense. Breaking through gaps left and right. Great open field tackle on top of that. That's how you play football right there against the Katy Tigers.
Gain of only a yard to the 49-yard line for Kyle Porter. Be 2nd down and 9 for the Tigers. Two receivers near side along with the fullback flex this way. Running play for Porter right up the gut. And he'll get into Steele territory, but not much further. Brought down there by Jaden Jackson and Quincy Williams after a gain of 2, make it 3 to the 48-yard line.
Plugging up the middle, that's the most important part there for Cibilo Steele defense. Make sure they can contain the middle of the field. Stop Porter, short yardage.
Don't let Porter get free. Last week against Manville, he rushed it 31 times for 212 yards and 5 touchdowns.
You want to force Katy to pass it.
3rd down, about 6. Play fake for Doran. Throwing near sideline, intercepted at the 41-yard line. Caden Stern skies high for the pick, and Steele will get the ball on a turnover.
So Caden Stern steps up big. He just was at the right place at the right time. Not really a lot of pressure. Throw right to Stearns. Basically, the intended target there on the other side was Tony Mullins, and that ball was just simply underthrown. But Stearns with a big interception. Turnovers now even at 1 apiece.
Steele gets the ball at their own 42-yard line. Good field position. You see Caden Stearns on the sideline with the first turnover of the ball game. As we look down on the field, there's Xavier Martin back in the ball game at the quarterback spot. So he's going to try and give that ankle a go. Empty backfield. Stand throw near sideline. Ball caught by Lumpkin and wrestled down at the 49-yard line by Hunter Stinson.
Yeah, Lumpkin is dangerous coming out of the backfield. Slips behind the linebackers, makes a great catch. Will pick up some good yardage there and bring up a very manageable 2nd and 3.
Only had 3 catches on the season out of the backfield, but he slotted up to the near side. As again they go empty on 2nd down. Throw on far side. Ball is caught by Williams. He's driven back, but they'll spot him at the 46-yard line in Katy territory, and that'll be enough for a 1st and 10.
You know, part of me says, I wonder how much the fact that it's not raining, has that changed maybe the game plan, the strategy of running plays? Do you want to throw it a little bit more? Is there an opportunity to just take advantage of the wind behind your back? All these little things play a factor with whether or not you're going to throw the football.
Well, I think you can definitely do a lot more throwing the football with the wind at your back than you can into the stiff breeze that blows from right to left across your television screen. So from the 46, 1st and 10, Martin throwing outside, has Cox Wesley, and he'll be close to a 1st down at the 36-yard line. Covered up there by Giovanni Stewart. Move the chains after a 10-yard pickup.
Good hard throw by Martin. Cox Wesley making the grab there, picking up the necessary yardage for the 1st down. He's headed to Texas Tech.
Quick snap. Martin in trouble. You see that ankle give way as he just throws the ball away, and you can see that ankle is bothering him, and if you look down there, they've retaped the right ankle. You can see all the black tape on the outside of the shoe. And it's the right ankle that's giving him problems, and you can see as he tried to spin away from the pressure that he doesn't have the mobility he would like to have.
That's what you want to do if you're Katy. Make Xavier Martin run.
Now, yes, because you know he is not the threat he once was. 2nd down and 10 with an empty backfield again against a 3-man front. Martin throws outside over the head of Williams. He was covered on the outside by D.C. Blades. Was open on the little curl in, but the ball was high over the top. It'll be 3rd down and 10 now for Steele.
So Steele has really mixed in a lot of passing plays here, trying to take advantage of what they maybe deemed a weakness in Katy. I think they have no weaknesses, but they haven't. Steele has not been able to run the football so far, so they're trying to nickel and dime through the air, pick up 5 yards here, 5 yards there.
Cox, Wesley, and Williams go to the far side. On 3rd and 10, trying to set up the screen. It was batted down by the blitzing linebacker, Giovanni Stewart. Doing a little J.J. Watt there as he came free off the corner.
That's 3 batted passes now, 2 on the first drive, and now here we are again, getting the hands up. Nicely done. That starts with a lot of pressure.
Now it looks like we'll have a punting situation as Brendan Brady will stand back at the 48-yard line.
Gary Joseph looks like he wants to call a timeout.
And he does call it with 8:27 left here in the first half. Katy scored on their first possession of the game and maintains that 7-0 lead over the Steel Knights. And we're going to play You Can Take Timeout, I Can Take Timeout. Scott Lenhoff sent his field goal team out after the timeout by Gary Joseph and Katy, and then he called a timeout. He was going to have Angel Vasquez attempt a long-range field goal, but we'll see what happens. So while we've got a moment, let's go on the sideline and check in with John Harris. John.
It's a punt. Oh, no, it's a field goal. No, now it's back to a punt. I don't know if we can figure out exactly what was going on, but Coach Lenhoff ran his field goal team out there and then pointed over here to the sideline. I don't know if he was looking for an official or what, but he decided to then put his punt team back out on the field. So I think we're going to now have a punt finally after consecutive timeouts.
You don't see that very often.
Little chess match going on.
So Colin Wilder will stand at the 10-yard line to await what we think is going to be a punt from Brendan Brady. Now we open up the punt formation. So will it be a punt after all? Yep, Brady's just going to knock it up in the air. And it will hit deep in the end zone and roll through and hit the upright of the goalpost. The stanchion down at the bottom of the field, and so Katy will take over at the 20-yard line after all of that.
That's what you alluded to earlier. You don't want to kick it too far with the wind to your back there, and that ball got up in the jet stream, and it was gone. How about the renovations here at this stadium here, Alamo Stadium? Beautiful facility. We're going to get a chance to talk with Brian Clancy coming up at halftime, who's the assistant athletic director here at SAISD. And it's a beautiful facility. It's kind of an alternative. A lot of the games in San Antonio have been at the Alamo Dome. Hey, outdoors, football. It's supposed to be that way.
It's a great facility since it's been redone. Can't think of a better spot for a big game like this. 1st and 10, Katy from the 20. And Porter will take the run over the left side and drag people forward. He'll get nearly 5 yards on the play. He just lowered his shoulder and flat ran over Joshua Crossland, and that's not easy to do, the big 270-pound junior defensive tackle.
Well, attack their strengths. That's sometimes the best way to attack your opponent. And there's a lot of strengths on that offensive line for Katy on top of that. You wonder why they always have so many good running backs.
Well, Howerton and Schrack on the left side with Cole Shannon in the middle. On 2nd down, come to the right. Porter looking for room, and he won't find any. Katy strung it out and gave him no cutback lane and put him down after a gain of only a yard. Leading the charge there, big number 55 for the Steele Knights.
Yeah, Henry Willoughby there. 3 helmets. That's what you want to see if you're Steele. A lot of hats around the ball.
That's a great play by Willoughby as he's the defensive end on that side. He got outside and did not lose the corner and made it go inside where he knew he had help.
Porter just 29 yards rushing on 9 carries.
So now it's 3rd down and 6. I formation behind Doran. Going to throw to the outside. Incomplete. Trying to make the catch on a sliding effort was Angulo at the 35-yard line. He's the man who scored the touchdown in the 1st quarter.
I think Angulo might have heard some footsteps. Should have caught this one. Was a little bit behind him, but that would have been a 1st down, so a big drop right there and a break for Cibilo Steele.
Blake Travis has now jumped on top of Mansfield 14-7 as they start the 2nd quarter of that game at Waco ISD Stadium. So punting into the wind now is Katy. You can see the wind knock it down. It'll hit just across midfield and bounce backwards. And it will be covered up by Stinson right near midfield. They'll mark it at the 49 in Steele territory. And that's where the Knights are going to go on the attack, trailing 7-0. 6:51 to play here in the opening half.
Only 24 yards on that punt right there. So really, since the first drive, Steele's defense has been very solid. Keep in mind, Katy had a short field in that first drive.
Only 24 yards to go, right. So now let's see what they can do. Best starting position of the ball game for the Knights. Comes a yard on their side of the midfield stripe. Martin in the backfield with Lumpkin. Stack Williams and Cox Wesley on the near side. Stack 2 to the far side as well. Martin with a pump fake. Oh, got hit as he throws. The ball is incomplete. Coming in from behind may have been Bethley. Pressure up the middle from Woodring. One of those guys got the arm of Martin just as he was ready to launch.
4 deflections now. Had the pump fake, was looking deep downfield, but again, the defensive line gets their paws up in the air, knocking that ball free. That was dangerous.
It was the second guy. The inside guy had the rush, but it was the second guy who reached out there and just got the football. 2nd down and 10. Martin to throw again. Caught by Williams, snagged out of the air. Nope, didn't control it. Incomplete pass near the 44-yard line, so it's going to be 3rd down and 10.
Well, Martin kind of left his man, C.J. Williams, hung out to dry right there and kind of threw that in a position where he knew he was going to get clocked. But if you know you're going to get hit, you might as well make the catch. Couldn't do it.
So now 3rd down and 10. Steele's had their problems here on 3rd down.
Turned into a defensive battle here.
Martin throws near sideline, whizzed it by Cox Wesley, and coming up to make what was going to be a big hit once again was Travis Willick, and maybe that's why Cox Wesley had the alligator arms there and just retracted those things in just a little bit. Watch it here.
Yeah, Martin, good hard throw once again, but Wesley looked a little shocked there. He didn't see it at first.
he saw Willett coming up from the inside. I don't want to get this one. So now it's going to be 4th and 10, so 3 incomplete passes again. And interesting, Cox Wesley is the deep snapper, as he'll send it back to Brady, and this time 2 men will go deep for Katy, standing at the 10-yard line.
You don't see receivers in that position too often, do you?
Low snap. He bounced it back there, but no rush. Brady puts it high in the air. It'll hit inside the 5 and go into the end zone for a touchback. 51-yard kick, no return. Katy gets the ball, 6:27 left here in the first half.
You might notice here at the stadium, San Antonio ISD in the end zone. It's actually 5 yards away from the goal line. It kind of throws a few people off when they see it. But beautiful facility here, established in 1940.
Again, with 3 incomplete passes, a 34-second time of possession for Steele. You don't want to put the ball back in Katy's hands all the time. That's going to come back to bite you.
So far, Lumpkin, by the way, just 8 yards rushing on 7 carries. Martin has 32 yards rushing on the 3 times he's run the football out of the quarterback position. So Katy doing a pretty good job on the defensive side.
So Doran has Porter as the deep high back. Mullins goes in motion across the formation. Doran rolling left, throwing left, and almost intercepted. The intended receiver slipped and fell at the 32-yard line. And then the safety came up and said, oh, Frankhauser said, I should have had this ball.
Yeah,
it was a tight end, Dylan Vasquez, who was the intended receiver, and Mark Frankhauser says, why didn't I catch that?
Very fortunate. Dylan Vasquez, once he slipped and fell, he knew that ball was headed for trouble. So Katy catches a break.
2nd down and 10. Press coverage on the outside receivers. And we get whistles. False start against Katy. You don't see that very often. Katy doesn't make very many mistakes.
They're a reflection of their coach, Gary Joseph. He is so particular on each and every detail of practice, the schedules, being prompt, on time, well prepared. One of the most well-prepared coaches in all of Texas high school football, Gary Joseph.
So now, 2nd down from the 15-yard line, and Porter gets free and gets out right near the 1st down marker at the 30-yard line. Kyle Porter with his best run of the day.
Kyle Porter following his lead fullback there. Great block downfield. Well into the secondary by the time he's brought down around the 30-yard line.
Teron Morris is the guy who finally made the tackle at the 30-yard line. But a 15-yard pickup by Porter moves the sticks for the Katy Tigers. Porter again, right up the gut, has some running room, and will step over a man and get out to the 36-yard line before he'll be brought down there. Ivory at the bottom of the pile, make that Jackson at the bottom of the pile with Morris, who make the stop after a gain of 6.
And Jaden Jackson also on the tackle there. But you know the thing about Katy is they'll run Porter left, they'll run Porter right up the middle, and then sure enough, he'll break one. They stick with the game plan and try to continue to run the football.
Slot formation near side. Glass goes in motion. They give it to the fullback, Williams this time. And Kyle Williams will pull his way forward across the 40 to the 43-yard line and pick up a 1st and 10. When you talk to Scott Lenhoff about facing Katy, he knows them all too well, the 3rd time in 4 years going against Gary Joseph's bunch. He says their offense is far more complicated than it would appear to the naked eye. It looks very simple. Looks power play left, power play right, sweep left, sweep right. He says there's a lot more to their offense than that, and that's what makes them so hard to prepare for.
That's a good point.
So a new set of downs from the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. It's Porter, and he'll be grabbed onto immediately by Quincy Williams and dragged down just across the 45. Short gain of 2 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for the Tigers as we're down to 4.5 to go until halftime.
Yeah, once that helmet comes off, you got to come out. Jaden Jackson will have to sit this play out.
Jackson, a guy, had 14 tackles against Clemens last week, including 2 tackles for loss. Second down, a long 7 for the Tigers. I formation, slot near side. Looking to throw on the slant. Mullins has the ball and on the loose inside the 40, inside the 30, inside the 20, and finally thrown to the ground near the 15-yard line. Isaiah Fields finally has to stop Tony Mullins after a big gain.
Tony Mullins, 38 yards. A lot of that is after the catch. Watches him crossing across the middle of the field, sees exactly where the defense is, breaks free. Great run right there and a big boost. They needed that boost with their passing attack. They've been able to run it a time or two, but the passing game hasn't quite been there. There's a great example of how they can change things up and be a little bit more well-balanced.
Well, they just suck you in with that run all the time, and it leaves the middle of the field open because those safeties sneak up. Running play on first down for Porter. Flag is down as Porter is down at about the 10-yard line, taken off his feet by Ivory, but check the marker. This could be a holding call against Katy. And that's the preliminary indication from our referees, Smith Holder. Dallas Football Officials Association running this ball game. Didn't get a number there, but it is offensive holding. We'll walk the ball back to the 26-yard line.
Maybe 65 on that far side there across the middle. That would have been Peyton Schrack, but hard to tell.
So now it'll be first down and 20 from the Tigers back at the Steele 26-yard line. 3:20 to go until halftime. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Markers are down, and Porter is down as well. There was movement right in the middle of the defensive front. Now, was it a false start, or did the defensive player just jump the snap count? It looks as though they're having a discussion with Hayden Howerton, which makes you believe it's an offside. And offside it is. Let's watch it again. That's Quincy Williams, 34, who got in the neutral zone.
Yeah, a couple of feet in the neutral zone there. Had a couple of players jumping.
So we exchange penalties. And now it's 1st and 15. For the Katy Tigers, they have the 7-0 lead as we hit the 3-minute mark of the first half. 6A Division II state semifinals. A spot in the championship game next Saturday at Energy Stadium in Houston goes to the winner. Swing it out for Mullins. Got an early block. Got to the original line of scrimmage and will not be stopped there. He'll push the pile all the way to the 12-yard line. How about Tony Mullins, a little guy, 5'9", 160, just moving that pile.
Gets into space out there on the corner. Good block by his teammate there and opens up some good yardage. So Jackson Borowski with a nice block. 2nd and 6 from the 12.
Nice 9-yard gain on 1st and 15.
That's a good shot at Gary Joseph there.
From the 12-yard line, 2nd down for the Tigers. 2 receivers this way. Give it to Porter this way. Broke a tackle. Flag is down in the middle of the field, and down is Porter at the 10-yard line. The early pressure across the line was Henry Willoughby, who missed him. But markers came in behind the play, and we might have another holding call against Katy here. Oh, chop block. Well, obviously, one man engaged. Let's see if we can see it here in the middle. Couldn't quite tell where the marker came in, but once a man is engaged up high, you cannot come in low below the waist and cut him down, and that's what they say Peyton Schrack did. So take the ball back on the chop block on the 15-yard penalty to the 27-yard line. Now it's 2nd down. And 21 to go. Delay handoff. Porter broke one tackle and will not get away from the second man. Mark Jackson makes the stop at the 23-yard line after a gain of 4. So now it's going to be 3rd down Katy needs to get all the way to the 6-yard line. And remember, they're working into a stiff wind, so a field goal try by Chris Perez of 40 yards from here would be very difficult under these circumstances. Angulo goes to the far side. Borowski on the near side. In the slot far side is Mullins. And Doran goes shotgun in the pistol formation, and the handoff has nothing doing. Steele was all over that handoff as they gave it to Porter, and Porter had no place to go. May have gotten a yard on the play, and that is all. So now it's going to be 4th down and 15. And what will Gary Joseph decide to do? He's got some of the skill players on the far side. Will he call another timeout as we're under a minute to go here? Play clock is down to 14. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to watch the officials, and when the play clock gets down to 1, that'll be it. 10th play of the drive here for Katy. And we get a timeout with 35 seconds to go until halftime. We'll take it with him here from Alamo Stadium. 6A Division II semifinal. The Tigers lead the Knights by 7. The 19th at Energy Stadium. And Perez is going to try a field goal. From 38 yards into the stiff wind. It's got the distance, and the kick is good. Chris Perez from 38 yards away ups Katy's lead to 10-0 with 28 seconds to go until halftime.
Chris Perez is putting that right through the uprights, and that's a little more realistic. Last time going for that big 52-yarder. This time just catches on the inside, beautifully done, and a very important field goal there in what has become a very good defensive battle, 10-0.
Approaching halftime here, John Harris will talk with Scott Lenhoff coming off the field, the head coach of the Steele Knights. We'll hear his impressions. And I guess you could say, you know, one of those keys, Jeff, was to weather the start. You know, and Katy got that early lead a minute into the ball game. But until then, they haven't allowed any more points. 10 plays, 59 yards, resulting in the 38-yard field goal by Perez to extend the lead to 10-0 with 28 seconds to go here until halftime.
Well, it's been a very competitive game, and you see there's another great game going on now. Hank Carter's Lake Travis Cavaliers leading 14-7 over Mansfield. Mansfield, one of the surprise teams this year. They have got a fantastic defense, good strong offense as well. That's been a game we've been all keeping an eye out for on this day.
Alex Dopro will kick off this time into the wind. I would suspect he's either going to knock this one on the ground or pop it up on the near sideline. And standing here on the near sideline is Cox Wesley at the 37-yard line. Well, let's see what Dopro does with the kickoff. Goes straight away into the wind. Will be fielded at the 13-yard line. This is Isaiah Fields trying to get to the corner. Got outside the 25 and out to about the 27-yard line before he'll be brought down there, and we have 21 seconds to go until halftime.
So interesting situation here. Will Steele try to go for it? They've got a lot of real estate in front of them. I think it'd be pretty risky. It's manageable now, down 10-0.
You know, got to remember, they have the wind at their back, so if they want to try a deep ball, if they can get the protection, now's the time.
And Katy's going to get the ball first to start the third quarter.
You're exactly right, sir. So DJ Gardner will go to the far side along with Onyx Smith. 4 receivers go that way. Just Cox Wesley on the near side. Short pass. Cox Wesley on the outside, and he'll be run out of bounds right about at first down yardage. They'll mark him out at the 37, a yard shy. It'll be 2nd down and 1. That stops the clock with 16 seconds to go.
So 16 seconds. There's a slight drizzle coming down, but obviously we expected much more today, but the weather's kind of holding off for now.
Knights have 2 timeouts remaining, so they can use the center of the field if they want. 3 receivers will go to the far side. This time Williams is on the near side. That's where they go. Williams looking for the hook and lateral. They tried to toss it back to Fields, and he'll be driven out of bounds at the 40-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down.
Hey, I like the call. I like the attitude here, going for the little hook and lateral. Kind of gave it away there, running towards the man, but nonetheless, out to the 40 for a first down. Now just 10 seconds left.
You got a chance for a couple of shots down the field if you want.
That hook and lateral worked for Ennis in the state championship game. last year.
Short pass near side. May have been deflected again at the line of scrimmage and came up short for Cox Wesley and stops the clock with 6 seconds to go until halftime. And boy, oh boy, has this Katy front done a great job of putting their hands up in the face of Xavier Martin to disrupt his passing lanes.
And they must have seen something. They knew he was going to be somewhat stationary in the pocket. Better chance to bat balls down.
And Scott Lenhoff will call one more timeout here. He will still have one left at his disposal, should this next play not run out the clock and be stopped in the field of play, so he can have one more chance at it.
Well, he's thinking, he's trying to get a field goal here with just 6 seconds left. You got time to maybe run the one play, get out of bounds, and then try to boot a long one.
You know, he's been sneaking up on this Katy team. They lost in 2012 in this round, the semifinal round, 45-33 in Waco. And last year, the game went overtime before Katy prevailed at 27-20. Now he finally got Katy to come here to San Antonio area and have a game in his backyard, but still trails 10-0 as we approach halftime.
Well, when we asked Scott, hey, do you think Katy's a rivalry now? You've played it now 3 times in 4 years. He goes, well, we haven't beaten them yet, so they're not a rival yet. They don't think we're a rival yet anyway.
No, not yet, no. Martin will have Lumpkin in the backfield with him this time. Going to step up, scramble, hit from behind. Ball came loose. Katy's got it. It's Modest with the recovery. He was down at the 38-yard line. Now the clock says 0, so that's going to be our last play. But Xavier Martin, you can see he wants to do something with his feet, but re-injuring that ankle on the 19-yard run in the first quarter has limited his mobility once again. Let's see if John Harris can catch up with head coach Scott Lenhoff here on the sidelines. I see him tracking him down. And as soon as we get set up, John, take it away.
Standing, giving up that first touchdown and then holding to a field goal. Your defensive front's been great.
Yeah, they played their tail off. Kind of knew what we expected. We knew those guys would play well, and they have.
Offensively, Xavier, with the foot, what are you going to have to do to get the ball moving offensively?
Yeah, we're going to throw a little bit. Obviously, they're doing a good job up front stopping the run. We're going to be able to run the football a little bit second half, and we got to get the ball at the quickest hand, get those defensive linemen hands down. A lot of tip balls, and we got to eliminate that.
What do you say to your team as you go into you got a lot of time before you come back out? What do you say to them when you get back in?
We're here. I mean, we're here. It's 10-0. All right, we've been behind before. 10 points is not too much to overcome. Let's play our game and let's go.
Coach, appreciate it. Thank you. Guys, back to you.
All right, John, thanks. 10-0 is our halftime score as the Katy Tigers lead the Steele Knights in the Class 6A Division II state semifinal from Alamo Stadium in San Antonio. Stay tuned. Our halftime activities are straight ahead.
But Steele did do a good job of kind of shutting them down in the second quarter. But it's been a back-and-forth game. A lot of defense, some missed opportunities right there. The drop ball could have been big, but Cox Wesley couldn't come up with it.
That was on the first series right at the end of it. There's the punt return by Wilder that sets him up. And here's the 20-yard touchdown pass. J.C. Angulo getting loose on the far sideline and getting in for the only touchdown of the first half. And then the defense has started to take over. Here's Xavier Martin playing on a bad ankle, a 10-yard run to get things going. Didn't look to be too bad there. Nice diving attempt by C.J. Williams. Couldn't haul it in to keep a drive alive. Now this is the play where Martin re-injures the ankle. Watch at the tackle here, right at the end. You saw the right leg go down, and he was limited there. Cody Massey came in. Big hit on Brandon Brady on the short screen pass, recovered by Katy. They take over but couldn't capitalize. Garrett Doran intercepted on a high reaching attempt by Kalen Stearns.
Good run.
There's
by
the
Porter.
one big run by Porter. This 15-yarder. That's his longest run of the game so far. Doran to Mullins.
And that really set up the field goal opportunity. Great run right there after the catch.
Got him to the 16-yard line. Both teams guilty of some penalties. The field goal by Perez from 38 yards puts us where we are now at 10-0 Katy. So we heard a little bit from Scott Lenhoff coming off the field from when he was talking with John Harris, Jeff. So what do you think he's going to try and instill in his team here in the third quarter? Remember, they got to go on defense to get things started.
Well, teams are a reflection of their coaches, and both of these teams are here for a reason. They've got great coaches. I think Scott is probably just calming them down and saying, hey, let's mix things up. We tried to maybe pass more than we wanted to, if they can find a way to run the football, that'll really open things up for them, and they can be a little bit more balanced.
On the other side of the coin, Gary Joseph and the Katy Tigers, the game is working out the way they want it to. They get the lead, make the other team play from behind. What do you want to see them do in the second half?
Well, they get the ball first to start the third quarter. If they can find a way to take it down the field and get a touchdown.
Into the wind,
and get up 17-0, I think that defense, game over.
Yeah, could
be very big right in the start of the third quarter.
See if we can take a look at some of the first half statistics for today's ball game. And you see Steele with a 7-5 advantage in first downs, but Katy has the lead in total yards, 145 to 102. Steele's coughed it up twice. It hasn't cost them any points, but they trail 10-0 here as we head for the third quarter. We'll take a timeout and get you ready for second half action from Alamo Stadium here in San Antonio right after this. Steele bench as their players are getting ready to come back on the field through the helmet. Poor John. Hope he had the earplugs in because he really got drowned out by the band and the Steele fans here on the near sideline as the teams come out of the locker rooms to get ready for the second half.
And what an environment. I mean, just a sea of red on one side, a sea of black on the other. Here come the Katy Tigers here to start the second half. I mean, that's a pretty good drive coming from the Houston area for all these Katy fans, and that's a great contingent of fans on the far side as well.
You know, and the weather forecasts have been forecasting all this nasty weather coming up on Saturday, and knock on wood, so far it has not really been a disruptive force in this ball game. The wind has been a factor in the ball game, but we have not really had the rain that's come into it whatsoever. The teams have really been able to take care of business by themselves and go at it. And so those who did make the trek from the greater Houston area from Katy to come here for today's ball game, and there is a big contingency right across the way. Folks here from Steele didn't have to go very far to come in here, but I'm sure that a few people decided to stay away because they thought it might be a little nastier outside than it is.
Well, and of course, Katy knows next week they'll be playing in their own backyard over at NRG Stadium if they can find a way to hold on and win today. So these fans getting a chance to get on the road and see the team one last chance on the road, so to speak.
So we get ready here. Steele will kick to Katy to start the second half, and the Katy Tigers will be working into that strong wind from the south-southeast, blowing at 15 to 20 miles per hour from the right to left across your TV screen. And Mark Frankhauser will do the kicking off. He's got the ball set just inside the near hash mark. There's a look at the Texas flag blowing around right now.
By the way, Lake Travis just scored again. They're up now 28-7. So Lake Travis looks like they might be well on their way to going to NRG Stadium next week.
And you have DeAndre Glass on the near side. And on the far side, you've got J.R. Blades for Katy. They stand at the 5-yard line, but Frankhauser with the wind at his back should have no trouble taking this deep into the end zone if he wants to.
By the way, total yards 145 to 102 in favor of Katy.
And Frankhauser blasts it, and it will go through the end zone. So Katy will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Garrett Doran, the senior quarterback, 5 and 9 in the first half for 81 yards, had the big 38-yarder to Tony Mullins that set up the field goal right before halftime. 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Kyle Porter, 13 rushes for 56 yards and a long of 15 in the first quarter. And the way this game is playing out, Jeff, it's just as Scott Lenhoff told us earlier this week. Katy is the Alabama of high school football. They don't beat themselves. They go at it pretty basically. They don't do anything real fancy, but they are very, very good at what they do.
It's Katy's world, and we're all living in it, right?
Motion at the line of scrimmage. Jackson got across the line, but was he drawn off by the tight end, Eichenberger? And it is going to be a false start as Mullins was in motion and Jackson jumped.
That's not the start they wanted. Third penalty, I believe, now on Katy.
So walk the ball back to the 20-yard line where it'll be 1st and 15.
Fourth now, 4 for 35 yards on Katy, 2 penalties on Steele for 10 yards. So pretty clean so far here from basically a half and 1 play.
Remember on the drive that netted them the field goal, they had a holding call and a chop block that they were able to overcome. So Mullins again in motion far side, toss sweep that way for Porter. Got some blockers. Got across the 25, and he wrestled down at about the 31-yard line. And making the tackle there is J.C. Ivory. Ivory with a dozen tackles last week against Clemens in the quarterfinal victory for Steele.
There's a staple play right there for Katy. Everybody running to the left. Porter, great running back, following his blocks and pick up 6 yards. It's a good first down play there.
It's an 11-yard pickup because of the penalty, my friend.
There we go.
It is second down and 4, but it's an 11-yard gain. He's trying to keep you in line here. Another delay handoff. Porter again over the left side. He'll dive across the 35 and have the first down for Katy. Tripped up back there in the secondary by Javier Gutierrez.
So once again, Porter faking like he's going to go right, cuts left, then back inside, picks up the first down. You notice there at the end, you young running backs, he knew where the first down marker was, dove towards it, got the first down.
Nothing fancy for Kyle Porter, your prototypical I-back, downhill runner, makes one cut, and then if he gets to the second level, look out because he's got the speed to open up daylight. On 1st and 10 from the 36, hand to the fullback, Williams. And Steele not fooled as they hold that to about a 3-yard gain. The guy getting up for the bottom of the stack is Henry Willoughby.
You see Scott Lindhoff right there trying to fire up his troops. You know, the defensive front line for Cibilo Steele has done a good job on Porter in the first half, but a couple of big runs here so far to start the second half. Katy looks like they're going to try to pound the football here.
Jackson, the only senior among those starting 4 defensive linemen, too. So they'll all be back next year. Second down, 7. Doran for Porter. Broke one tackle, dove across the 40 out to about the 43, but a marker is down. Might have a holding call. Is slow to get up is Quincy Williams. Now let's check out the penalty marker.
While we wait there, Katy with 65 yards between the tackles. That's where they like to run the football.
And another holding call against Katy. See if we can pick it up here in the middle.
That's been the one thing that's been kind of holding them back. Let's see.
Right there, down here, 67.
87.
They're 87 against 94 against Crossland, the tight end Eichenberger. He got outside the shoulder pads on the backside with a hold of the jersey. Pretty easy for the officials to spot. So walk the ball back to the 29-yard line. It'll be second down and 17.
You're just trying to get some of the yardage back on this play right here. Make it manageable on third down.
Moving at the line of scrimmage, false start against Mullins. He was in the stand-up and leaned forward. So now take it back to the 24. Let's see if we can pick it up here. Now we're tight. Mullins on the outside in the slot was the guilty party. You know, kind of in that semi-sprinter stance that wide receivers have. You know, crouched just a little bit and the arms flexed and ready to go, and he just leaned forward and broke his stance. That drew the penalty marker. So now it's second down at 22. Looking to throw on the outside. They get it to Borowski. Upended and taken down at the 31-yard line. Fields cut him loose down at the bottom, and Stearns polished him off.
Yeah, good open field tackle. First of all, nice pass to the outside by Doran, but wow, that's a big-time hit on the far side, and that's going to force a third and looks like about 16 yards for a first down for Katy.
They have to get out to the 46-yard line. Ball is on the 30. Big third down play here for Steele to get Katy off the field and get the ball with what should be pretty good field position. One back, Porter. He's got the handoff. Trying to go outside left and will dive forward to the 35-yard line. Middle linebacker, Teron Morris, the guy who got him off his feet and off balance to where his fellow defenders could take him off his feet and cover him up. Ball back at the original line of scrimmage at 36.
So definitely a punting situation here. Great job by Steele, but really that was more self-inflicted wounds by Katy with their penalties.
Absolutely. And Stearns is back inside his 30-yard line to await the Katy punt. And again, it's Modis. Stearns will take it from the 27. Penalty markers are down. The foul is going to be on Isaiah Fields. You see him coming off the field and say, man, I can't believe I did that at the 30-yard line. So it looks as though Steele is not going to have the field position they wanted to have. Could have been at the 36, probably going to go back to about the 20-yard line after the 10-yard walk-off. Let's see, watch down here at the bottom, right there. There's your block in the back by Fields.
Well, it's like holding right there, actually.
Take your pick.
More or less the same. 38 yards on the punt, 6-yard return coming back, though, to the 20-yard line. And, you know, Steele was going to get pretty good field position right there, but not necessarily now.
What Katy did was take the first third of the third quarter off the clock, controlling the ball for almost 4 minutes. The clock is their friend with a 10-0 lead here in the third. 6A Division II state semifinal. A trip to the championship game next week in Houston at stake for the winner. Williams comes in motion near side. Lumpkin with a run, got tripped up as he dove across the 20. Down there at the bottom, big number 7, Corey Bethley, is the guy who got the ankle and took Lumpkin off. Lumpkin looked like he might have had a little daylight there, Jeff.
Yeah, couldn't quite get around the Katy defender there, but that's a good look at Lumpkin. He needs to have a big second half here if Steele wants to get back in this game down 10-0.
5'10", 185-pound junior running back.
16 TDs on the ground.
Whoa, nobody home for Martin, and he just throws it away out of bounds, but he didn't get the ball past the line of scrimmage. And there goes the intentional grounding. Yes, you have to get the ball past the line of scrimmage if you're throwing it away. There's not a receiver in the area.
And that's on Martin's bum ankle right there.
Yeah, there was a mix-up in the backfield. That was supposed to be a running play. And the running back went the wrong way, and Martin looked around and went, "Where is everybody?"
I'm not designed to run, not with this ankle.
Not with this ankle. Here's the call. Grounding. Watch it again here.
No one there. That's a
Somebody
bad
got
feeling.
Confused. Modest was on the run, and he just shoveled it out of bounds.
Martin couldn't get out of there fast enough.
But if you're going to do that, you have to get the ball past the line of scrimmage. He did not. And so it's a 10-yard penalty the way it walks off and loss of down.
Martin would have been better off just taking a knee right there. And don't think that the Katy defense hasn't somehow registered that, put that away for storage.
So that's 3rd down and 18. Martin in trouble. He's going to go down at the 7-yard line. Bottom of the pile is Joey Woodring, the nose tackle, leading the charge.
That's the one thing that Katy can do to you. With the pressure they get up the middle, then they bring in a safety and look out. Down goes Martin.
Woodring down low, Bethley up high. Ball back to the 7-yard line. Punting situation for Brendan Brady. This is not how Steele envisioned the first half going, or the first part of the third quarter going. 5 yards deep in the end zone is Brady, and now we get a penalty marker. False start. Steele, both teams killing themselves here to start the third quarter, Jeff.
Yeah, the laundry is definitely have to get some new flags here in a moment. Left all over the field. This is a key moment in the game right now for Steele. They need to get a good punt off here. It's obvious Katy's going to get in good field position.
And not let Wilder or Mullins get a return like they did on the first series of the game. Brady puts this one out with the wind at his back. Mullins takes it from the Steele 48-yard line. Coming near. Whoa, man. He got clobbered as he got across the 40-yard line. What a special teams tackle there by Amond Woods. 6:33 to play third quarter, and Katy still with the advantage, 10-0.
Over at NRG Stadium.
Well, the folks there at Energy Stadium brought the artificial surface in about a year and a half ago just for occasions like this, because with the natural grass the Texans played on, you couldn't have multiple games. And now the artificial surface is coming real handy. Play fake for Doran on first down, going for it all down the far sideline. Caught by Angulo. Tackled down at the 1-yard line. Stearns made the tackle, but Angulo goes high to haul it in for 36.
What a big play. And how about the play call right there? Kind of going for the home run, if you will, hauling it in at its highest point. That is marquee football there. Great job hauling that one in.
And check it, that was Frankhauser, not Stearns, who made the touchdown-saving tackle at the 1-yard line. But Katy with a chance to blow this open now with 6:10 to go in the third.
Gula with the play of the game so far.
Well, he's got the one touchdown, and now the big play. The fullback, Williams, forced the pile forward. Touchdown, Katy Tigers. And it's now 16-0. And Katy inches closer to another trip back to the state championship game.
Well, it was set up by the big pass play, but then they do what they do best right by the goal line, and that's run the football in. Big offensive line. Katy Tigers in good shape right now, up 16-0, set up by Mullins, big play.
Point after try by Chris Perez. Splits the uprights, and Katy's lead is 17-0. 5:59 to play here, third quarter. Watch the big play again as we go to timeouts. (17-0) Katy on a 1-yard touchdown plunge by the fullback Kyle Williams after a 36-yard pass from Garrett Doran to J.C. Angulo. Let's go to John Harris.
That 1-yard dive, that was easy, but you can see the fatigue on the front of Cibilo Steele. But that route, again, Steele getting beat in half coverage, but Frank Hauser, the safety, was in position to make the play. He just misjudged the play. Angulo makes a great catch. Excellent execution there by Katy. Now it's a 3-score game. Tough uphill climb for Cibilo Steele.
Kickoff is high and short. Taken in at the 28-yard line and diving out to the 32-yard line. And that was Stearns who made the catch on the short kickoff into the wind. So Steele will have decent field position at the 32-yard line, but now they're down 3 scores, Jeff, and we've got a quarter and a half to go.
Well, this is the first time at the rock pile all season for Cibilo Steele, and they're going to need to find a way to make some magic happen here with 5:54 to play in the third quarter, down 17-0. You know, the injuries kind of set them back earlier in the week, and Xavier Martin's ankle has just really been an issue for him throughout this game. He's just not mobile.
You can see him hobbling out to the huddle here as he goes empty backfield on 1st and 10. Jet sweep for C.J. Williams. Ball poked out of his hands. Loose ball scooped up by Stewart. He's going to run it in for the score. Giovanni Stewart with the strip, the scoop, and the touchdown for Katy.
And how fitting. Giovanni Stewart and the defense for Katy getting a touchdown here. We always talk about offenses, but it's this Katy defense for why they're going to be playing for a state championship next week.
You see the dejection and the disappointment on the face of Xavier Martin as it's now a 23-0 game. Giovanni Stewart, one of the 3-year starters, one of the 5 3-year starters that Gary Joseph has on the defense. Says he creates havoc for offenses. I think you saw it right there. Point after try is blocked. No chance for a return. So it'll stay 23-0. But watch the play by Giovanni Stewart. Poke it away right there. Alertly to his feet. Scoop it up and score.
What a fantastic play. Knocks the ball free, pokes it out, and then gets right up, picks it up, takes it into the end zone with his best friends right around him.
17 yards on the fumble recovery and touchdown by Stewart, but we had a penalty marker on the block kick. The right-hand side of the Steele defensive front was across the line early, so Perez gets a chance to re-kick and makes no mistake this time around. Maybe that's why it was blocked, as those guys on the far end got a head start and got in there before Perez can boot it through.
So what a big turn of events. We talked about the field position issue, the fact that Steele was pinned deep on their own side of the field. They punt the ball. 2 plays is all it took for Katy to score an offensive touchdown. Then they get the big play on the defensive side with Giovanni Stewart.
Well, they have scored 2 touchdowns in the span of 14 seconds. The touchdown run by Williams came at 5:59 left. Now we have 5:45 left. And the score is now 24-0 Katy, and Scott Lenhoff and the Steele Knights have their work cut out for them now, working with a quarterback who's not at full speed. You wonder if they won't try and turn this over to Cody Massey here for the final quarter and a half, simply because he can do more with the football than Martin can right now.
I still think Martin probably gives him the best chance to win the football game. His arm by itself can do that. but you know Katy knows that Steele's going to try to throw the football, so it's going to be just that much tougher for the Knights.
And they have not been able to get their running game on track whatsoever. So Alex Doppro will kick it off again. He went high and short the last time. Into the wind. Let's see what he does here. Same thing toward the far sideline. From the 26-yard line and tackled back at the 21-yard line is Stearns. Special teams play made by Michael Gomez for the Katy Tigers.
They beat you in so many different ways. They've got great special teams, outstanding defense, good offense. Good open field tackle.
There's the tackle. Scott Lenoff says, when you look at Katy, we told you about the advantage with the front five. No holes in the defense. Special teams outstanding. Yes, yes. Katy very focused. Yes. All of that.
He said great athletes. As you mentioned earlier, the Alabama of high school football.
So from the 24-yard line, they put two men in the backfield and give it to Lumpkin. He's being pursued by a Woodring from behind and brought down. Joey Woodring with another tackle for loss. Bethley there to help out.
So you can feel the momentum swing. It has just completely parked itself on the bench of Katy, and it's led by their defense. They do a great job making big plays. Joey Woodring again. Once he grabs you, you're going down.
5'11", 260, but can move.
With 96, right over the ball.
Corey Bethley, a junior. Delay handoff for Lumpkin. Broke one tackle, got to the corner, and will be run out of bounds across the 20-yard line. Patty Fisher's the guy who knocked him out of bounds. And you see offensive coordinator Steve Driffel trying to get something going for this Steele offense, which has struggled mightily against Katy's defense, but that's not a surprise. Most defenses struggle against Katy.
Somewhere Matt Diamond saying, yeah, that's how we used to do it. The Katy defense, they've had some outstanding players through the years. You hear about the Adam Taylors of the world and all these offensive players, but their defensive players, they play as a unit. Very polished.
Third down and a dozen. Williams starts in motion. Martin trying to pass. Under pressure from Patty Fisher. Knocked away, incomplete. Patty Fisher with the middle linebacker blitz was all over Martin, who just cannot go anywhere with that bad ankle.
He needs to get rid of it. It's just anytime he starts to run the football, it's a disaster waiting to happen.
Now on fourth down, going to be a punting situation once again for Brendan Brady. See Patty Fisher out there leading the charge for this Katy defense and what he means. John telling you, won the Greater Houston Area Defensive Player of the Year honors, even though he played only half the season. So Brady knocks a wobbler out of there. It'll hit inside the 40, bounce away from Wilder and take a good roll for Steele. And they're going to down it just outside the 15-yard line. So good kick and roll by Brady will pin Katy deep, but they don't mind. They lead by 24 with 4:44 left in the third quarter.
62 yards on that punt right there, courtesy of the friendly roll on top of that. There's a good shot of Martin on the sidelines here talking things over with one of his, I can't know if that's his assistant coach, maybe a trainer. Well, they're talking things over and just trying to keep him in the frame of mind of you can do it. You can do it. There's 4:44 to go in the third quarter. I know you feel some pain in that ankle, but you got to find a way to pull it out of your heart here and lead us back.
And also on the near sideline, you see Cody Massey warming up. He may be going in. They may have decided that Martin just can't take him where they need to go right now because of that bad ankle.
9 of 22 on his passing for 64 yards.
So on 1st and 10 for Katy, it's Kyle Porter left side. Broke one tackle, trying to get to the corner. Will not get there. Got stood up and busted down. Frankhauser up from the secondary to make sure he couldn't go any further. They get the ball across the 20 and out to the 23-yard line, however, for a nice pickup of 7.
Second down and 3.
Xavier Martin, by the way, with just the 25 yards rushing on 5 carries. Been sacked quite a few times as well, but Steele's defense needs to stand tall right now. They know their quarterback is wounded on the sidelines right now, and he needs a break.
Well, a little turnover, pick 6, fumble recovery 6, you never know. Porter with a run around the right side. He'll get across the 30 for the first down. Keep those chains moving. Once again, the linebacker tandem of Jackson and Morris team up to make the stop. Yeah, you see Martin having a word with Massey. I think he's telling him, he said, Cody, it's your turn. I can't go any further on this. Yeah, you can see just the dejection. Xavier Martin saying it's the state semifinals and I'm hurt and I can't help my team. It's killing me. So from the 31-yard line, 1st and 10 for Katy. And Porter again. Whoa. Boy, he got stood up and took a shot as he got across the 35-yard line. Tavion Carter with a polish off after Teron Morris was down at the bottom. But a 6-yard gain out to the 37-yard line. I think we're going to see a heavy dose here of Kyle Porter now, Jeff.
Actually, that was DeAndre Glass right there. He just checked in. Yeah, he just checked into the game.
The young freshman who they expect a lot out of. Toss sweep for Glass. Following Williams' block, got to the corner and down at the 38-yard line. And again, it's Morris making the tackle. But Glass, young freshman, 5'9", 165, rushed for 664 yards and 14 touchdowns in a limited role.
See Tony Mullins bringing in the play there from the sideline.
And one of the things Gary Joseph likes to do in the third quarter is put Glass in the ball game so he can rest Porter, so when it comes time to ground out the game in the fourth quarter, Porter's ready to go. Give him a little blow. Throw is behind Mullins. Right at the first down marker at the 41-yard line as Doran missed him there.
We were talking about Porter earlier. He's got 92 yards rushing on 18 carries. They try to go through the air here this time. Ball just a little bit too far out of the reach of Tony Mullins.
Throw it behind him. If he throws it in the proper spot, Mullins makes the sliding catch and probably has the first down. So now it's Caden Stearns back to receive the punt. Modis knocks it out of there, a wobbly spiral. Will hit inside the 30, take a Katy roll to the 20, and be down at the 18-yard line. So Michael Modis, the big defensive end, doing the kicking there and pinning the Steele offense back inside their 20-yard line. 44 yards on the punt and the roll. And with 2:10 to go here in the third quarter, Steele's got to crank it up. And there comes
Cody
Massey.
His chance to shine right here. Where's number 12?
Massey on the season only attempted 28 passes, completed 18 for 231 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's going to have to get it going now with 2:10 left in the third quarter of the 6A Division II semifinal. From the shotgun running play for Lumpkin, tries to cut back, and white shirts are all over. Patty Fisher at the top of the pile, along with his running mate at the inside linebacker spot, Brendan Boyd. They hold that to a gain of 2, make it 1 to the 19-yard line, 2nd down and 9.
You mentioned earlier the clock, definitely the enemy of Cibilo Steele. They've got to move the football, new quarterback on the field.
Lumpkin now 11 carries for 9 yards. Pass is incomplete from Massey, looking over the middle for the tight end Armstrong. Well covered at the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
And Lumpkin, one of our key players going into the game, just not had the game he would like. Massey talking to his team right now. Definite passing situation here. 3rd and 9.
Young junior's got to try and convince his teammates that he can lead them to a comeback. Lumpkin will shift over to the right shoulder. Massey to throw outside for Cox Wesley. Eludes the first tackler, but cannot elude Wilder, who'll throw him down around the 25, and that'll be shy of the first down.
I think you've got to go for it here if you're Cibilo Steele. We're going to need about 4 yards. Watch the play right here. Cox Wesley making the catch. Tries to fight for some yardage there. Might have been better off diving, try to pick up at least an extra yard and make it a little bit easier to try to go for it, but now it looks like they're going to punt it.
Well, Willett grabbed him and spun him around, and that kind of took him off his bearings a little bit. So now Brady's going to kick again. And once again, it's a 3 and out for Steele's offense, and they've done that far too many times today. Brady usually uses a semi-rugby kick. Low snap, but whistles before the snap. Play clock is at 0. Did they take too long? I think they did. Delay a game penalty, a walk the ball back to the 20-yard line.
Well, here in the second half, Steele on their possessions. Punt, fumble, punt, and whatever happens here.
Brady with the wind at his back, a wobbly kick. Wilder backpedals to his 35, picks up some blockers, hurdles a man to midfield and more, down on the near sideline, and knocked out of bounds inside the Steele 40-yard line. Second big return of the game for Colin Wilder.
What a great run right there. Great return by Wilder. It's so important to be able to play those good special teams. Picking up those extra 20 yards on the return. Watch Wilder. Gets a key block. 36 yards on the return, mainly due to good blocking downfield. 56 on the punt, by the way.
So with 26 seconds left in the third quarter, Katy starts the Steele 37. One receiver to either side. The tight end, Eichenberger, is on the left. And Porter's back in at the tailback spot. Toss sweep left with blockers. And Porter just keeps driving forward and almost has 10 yards. How about that surge and the unwillingness to go down by Kyle Porter? And we have an injured Steele player. It's Quincy Williams back at the 33-yard line. Stops the clock with 10 seconds to go in the third.
You know, Katy, they beat you with good, strong running and good defense. And that's just been a recipe that's served Gary Joseph really well here at Katy. And Mike Johnston before him, and on and on. Winner
of this game plays the winner of the Mansfield Lake Travis ball game, which is going on now at Waco ISD. And you see Lake Travis out front 35-7. So it's looking like Lake Travis and Katy for the 6A Division II crown next Saturday at Energy Stadium.
Other scores to pass along for you. West Orange Stark was leading 26-21 over Cuero, now leads 41-21. Salina's already punched their ticket for the state championship. They beat Gilmer.
And you see Williams being helped to the sideline here. The distress is going to be on the left leg, whether it's the knee or the ankle. That'll be the problem. And now they'll whistle the ball ready for play, and Katy says, just send it back the other way. We got 10 seconds left here. We don't have to snap the ball. We're going to go to the fourth quarter with Katy 12 minutes away from going back to the state championship game for the fourth straight year. They lead Steele 24-0 here in the 6A Division II semifinal. Times and Ticketmaster.com for your ticket information. Doran's going to throw on 1st and 10 for the 27. Flushed out of the pocket, will now run. Gets inside the 20 and will be very close to first down yardage, if not the first down. Finally brought down there by Javier Gutierrez. That's an 11-yard gain for a first 10.
That play broke down, then Doran just tucked it, ran, picked up a first down. What a big third quarter, by the way, for Katy. A couple of touchdowns. They're now up to 244 total yards to just 99 for Steele.
They picked up 99 yards in that quarter compared to Steele's 5. 1st and 10 from the 16 for the Tigers. Give it to Porter, right side. Got to the 10-yard line before he'll be brought down.
Speaking of 5, there you go again. Porter was so instrumental in the win over Manville last week with the 4 touchdowns, and he wants a TD right here.
Well, what Gary Joseph likes to do is get in this situation. He gave him a little bit of a breather in the third quarter, and now it's Kyle Porter time. He is going to ground and pound Kyle Porter at Steele for the rest of this ball game.
Over 100 yards rushing now at 108 on 20 carries.
He's the deep back in the eye. Glass goes in motion. Toss sweep for Glass. And Weld is sought out by the Steele defense, and that's Crossland, who was all over him and dropped him for a loss of 2 back at the 12-yard line. Joshua Crossland read that play and was not fooled. Watch.
A little shaken up after the play as well, but watch that. Just basically takes him for a ride and slams him down. And that's a lot of weight right there, in a good way.
Yes. So now back at the 11-yard line, going to be 3rd down and 5. Katy, you see it, they'll slow it down, break the huddle with 10, snap it with 2 or 3 left on the clock. Doran under center, movement at the line of scrimmage by Steele. Markers are down. Porter's got the run. He'll be tackled close to the first down marker at the 6-yard line. Tackle made there by J.C. Ivory, but check out the flag. I think Jackson jumped and is going to be in the neutral zone. I think the player's going to be a first down. Whichever, whether they take the penalty or take the play, it's going to be a first down, Katy, at the 6-yard line. Smithholder, offside, decline, take the run. So give Porter 5 more yards. And now it's 1st and goal from the 6.
You know, earlier this year, the game, Katy beat the Woodlands 14-7, and since that time, they have just basically destroyed all competition along the way. Manville was the only team that kind of held it close. That was last week, 35-17 in that one in favor of Katy.
So on 1st and goal, give it to Porter. Starts left, tries to go back right. Slipped 1 tackle and got to the 4-yard line before he'll be brought down.
And worth noting, you talked about this earlier, Tom, it's not only that they're moving the football, but they're taking a lot of time off the clock in the due process, down to 9:25 and counting here in the 4th quarter.
You know, they had 14 minutes in the first half. In the 3rd quarter, they had the ball for 7.5 minutes of the 12. So they've extended that time of possession at the end of 3 quarters to 21.5 to 14.5. They've opened up that lead. 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Any bets Porter gets the ball?
I'm betting.
Toss sweep right, touchdown! Kyle Porter in the end zone from 4 yards out. And Katy now leads by a score of 30-0.
I got my bet in as the dice were being rolled, I might add. Great run right there by Porter, taking it into the end zone for the touchdown, and that's kind of the exclamation point. They can beat you with the run. They beat you with defense, special teams. They look as solid as ever. They really do.
And Chris Perez to try and tack on 1 more PAT out of the hold of Hayden Baker. Ball back and down, kick up on the way, and the kick is good. Let's go on the sidelines. John Harris, you got to see Katy last week against Manville. You got to see him this week against Steele. What do you think?
I'm not exactly sure who's going to beat this football team. Defensively, they're so active. And when you can take your 6'1", 200-pound safety and put him out man-to-man and take on a wide receiver that's going to end up going to Texas Tech and pretty much shut him down for the second half, well, actually, for the last 3 quarters, that tells you what kind of athletes this Katy defense has. But I think the X factor for this defense has been Giovanni Stewart, that scoop and score that he made. He's been making those plays all year long, and you can see all the Division I commitments they've got. But to me, number 8, Giovanni Stewart really makes this defense whole with all the different things that he can do in it. I'm not exactly sure who beats them. You got to play the perfect game to beat them, and Steele's defense did that in the first half, and they still were down 10-0 at the half, and it's death by paper cuts in the second half, and Steele really just has no gas left.
Ouch. That is a thought I don't like. Death by paper cuts. Ooh. Ooh. It shivers up and down my spine.
5 yards here, 5 yards there. Hey, that drive, 37 yards, 7 plays, 31-0 Katy.
Yeah, but more importantly, it took 3:34 to get done.
Sure.
They're only 37 yards, but still took 3.5 minutes off the clock.
Katy seeking that elusive 8th state title this year.
Perez's kick goes through the back of the end zone, and Steele will scrimmage at the 25. Time running out. They need to catch lightning in a bottle, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 or 5 times. They're going to have a chance to get back in this ball game, and right now, Katy just won't let them happen. Well, Mansfield back on the board. They scored first, then Travis rolled off 35 in a row, and now it's 35-14, 3rd quarter of that ball game at Waco ISD Stadium.
We know Westlake upset Allen 23-17. Judson and North Shore play at 5 o'clock today at NRG Stadium. That's going to be a key game. See who plays Westlake next week.
New running back in the ball game for Steele, and that is Joshua Weathers, a junior, and he got a yard, and that is all. The only loss that Judson has this year came at the hands of this Steele team in their rivalry.
You and I were there for that game, and the one thing that we kind of took from it was we knew Judson could get back into this situation. They didn't get outplayed that day. In fact, I thought they might have even outplayed Steele, but they just didn't do it on the scoreboard. But right now, total yards, 271 to 100 now in favor of Katy.
On second down, the pass from Massey went right through the hands of DJ Gardner on the near sideline. He threw it well. He had a lead blocker out there, and Gardner just missed it. Gardner, senior, with only 9 catches on the season. So now it's 3rd down and 9. Situation that Steele has been in way too often today. 3rd down and long. Massey delayed handoff for Weathers. Broke one tackle, couldn't escape the jersey pull, and got thrown back as he got to the 30-yard line.
So big play right there. Double checking some 3rd down statistics here for Steele. We thought that would be key early in the game, that their ability to try to move the chains, and they just have not been able to do it today. It's because they can't run the football. Not against this Katy defense.
Not against this defense. They were 1 out of 10 after 3 quarters.
And really, another thing we talked about, Xavier Martin, when he's on the field, there seems to be more confidence with the team all the way around.
Oh, absolutely. He is definitely their leader. He replaced L.G. Williams, who was their quarterback a year ago, an outstanding performer. And now I think Scott Lenoff is going to call timeout from the sidelines with 7:24 left in this one. And Katy in control by a score of 31-0. You see Scott Lenoff saying, another game against Katy, and another time he's going to get the best of me one more time. I just can't figure out what to do against this team.
Well, this year's Steele team has kind of been snake bit with injuries. That hasn't helped, but I think they're playing one of the best Katy teams ever. I mean, that defense they have over there, pitching a shutout against Steele, I mean, that's practically unheard of. No one else has even come close to doing that. It's going to be the 8th punt, by the way, coming up here for Steele.
You know, in the regular season, through the first 13 games, Katy has only allowed 55 points all season. They pitched 9 shutouts in the first 14 games, and they're on their way to 10 and 15. 2 out of 3 games, the team gets a shutout. In today's day and age of football, you don't hear that.
Just going to say, with all the offensive spread offenses everywhere, that's hard to do.
They bounce it back. Brady fumbled it. It's fought for, but Katy's going to have great field position one way or the other at about the 23 or 24-yard line. Another low snap from Antoine Cox Wesley. And this time, Brandon Brady couldn't scoop it up, and Katy's going to be set up on the verge of the red zone once again.
And I'm sure that Steele defense, they're not too happy about having to walk out of the field this quickly. Ball just simply muffed. It was a low snap, and it was just up for grabs.
So with 7:22 left, Katy takes over at the Steele 24-yard line. Dorn has gone the distance. We got a new running back in the ball game for Katy, and this is Kadarius Page, 5'7" junior.
By the way, Corey Bethley was credited with that fumble recovery.
And Page has the handoff in running room over the left side as he gets inside the 20 and taken off his feet by Fields at the 17-yard line.
Just another Katy running back checks in, right?
Yeah, they lose Kyle Porter and they get Kadarius Page, who this season rushed for 733 yards. And they have the freshman DeAndre Glass, 664 yards. They just keep reloading at Katy. They don't rebuild, they reload.
They are why that phrase is out there.
Second down and about 3 from the 17. Page again slipped as he tried to make his cut and maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. So it's going to be 3rd down and 3. Went to plant the foot, and it just went right out from under him. But the clock continues to roll. We're down to 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
6-man football going on today over in Abilene. All the other championship games at NRG Stadium. I love the one-site location. I think the UIL has definitely got a lot of positive feedback from the fans, keeping it at one site. Have some new teams there this year, but Katy will be familiar.
And Gulo goes in motion. Give it to Page. Page breaks through the line, has the first down. It'll be brought down at about the 12-yard line. Crossland holding on for dear life down at the bottom of the pile.
So moving those chains one more time, picking up the first down yardage. More importantly, milking that clock. It's down to 5:35.
Play clock is at 20, and they're just standing around waiting for the play to come in from the sideline. You know, they're going to break the huddle with about 10. Walk up to the line of scrimmage. Garrett Dorn will look things over a little bit. Say, okay, boys, now let's go. Page again, looking for room on the left. Still on his feet as he fights his way to the 7 and maybe the 6-yard line. Willoughby trying to pull him down from behind.
Looks like it's going to be Katy and Lake Travis in the state championship. Lake Travis now up 42-14 over Mansfield.
Just one of the exciting matchups you'll see next weekend at NRG Stadium. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 10 championship games in all. From the 7-yard line, give it to the fullback, and wide open and coasting in the end zone is Trey Turner for the score, untouched.
Big hole right there on the right side. He just burst right through. Katy up now 37-0.
Trey Turner, a senior, had only carried the ball 12 times all year long. First time he found the end zone, and he does it in the state semifinal.
Say, put that ball away.
37-0 now for Katy. Perez to try another point after, and he's got it. Katy Tigers are 4 minutes and 24 seconds away from going back to the state championship game as you watch here from Alamo Stadium in San Antonio. .424 is all that's left for the Katy Tigers to wrap things up here in the state 6A Division II semifinal. They have had their way with the Steele Knights, especially here in the second half. This was a good game for the first half, Jeff. 10-0 at the intermission, and really outside of the big punt return that gave Katy a very short field for the opening touchdown of the ball game and a field goal right before halftime, it was nip and tuck between these two teams. But in the second half, it's all red and white.
Yeah, it's been dominant here in this second half. That third quarter was very impressive for Katy, and they've continued it on here in the fourth. That last drive, 5 plays, 24 yards for Katy, capped off by Trey Turner's touchdown.
It took 2:58. Only 5 plays, but took 3 minutes off the clock. You couldn't script it any better. Deep kick, deep in the end zone, going to be brought out on the near sideline and being thrown to the turf at the 14-yard line. And that is DJ Gardner.
DJ probably thinking, hey, our offense is struggling. Let me see if I can't pick up some yards for him.
Instead, he's going to start his team back in the hole at the 14-yard line. Cost his team 11 yards by not going to a knee.
And you think about the last several years, 3 years now, Katy played Cedar Hill. Cedar Hill was knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. This time
everybody's
around,
surprised.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at, well, of course they lost to South Lake Carroll. It was a surprise they were playing South Lake Carroll in the first round. But what a matchup we'll have next week in the state championship in Division II. Katy and Lake Travis.
Running play on first down. And Weathers, nothing doing, maybe lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. It'll be 2nd down and 10. As we hit the 4-minute mark of the fourth quarter.
You know, just like we talk about Katy having this kind of second half, Lake Travis is doing the same thing to Mansfield. They're up 49-14 now. That's all pretty much second half.
I think the Katy fans are excited across the way.
Why not?
You know, it's funny. I talked to Gary Joseph. I've had the privilege of doing Katy's games the last 2 weeks now, and got to talk to him a little bit. Brady with the run this time, and he is stood up and driven back by Brendan Boyd. Oh, man. They're going to give him a yard, but I don't know how. But, Gary Joseph says that, as you mentioned, going back to the Mike Johnson days, the last 20 years now at Katy, I said, how do you do this? And he said it's just the culture that gets built up, starting at the grade schools and the middle schools and into high school, and everybody expects to play on the last game of the season. You may not win all the time, but you expect to play 16 games all the time, and not too many teams across the state expect to play 16 games every year.
And think about all those extra practices they get out of it. It's almost like getting an extra bowl game, if you will, in the college football level.
On third down, Massey just airmails his intended receiver Fields at the 20-yard line.
A lot of teams find their stride in the postseason. They make a move by maybe putting a defensive player on the offensive side, and he ends up being the answer to their problem. A lot of teams are tweaking things all season long. You don't get a real true test of how good you are and what you need to work with all the time in district play. You get to the postseason, all of a sudden you start realizing what your weaknesses are and what you can do to get better, and you try to fix those holes. And a lot of teams do get better throughout the postseason. Katy is one of them. I wouldn't think they could get better than what they did in the regular season, but they have.
And you just look at the Steele players, and they're saying, we can't do anything against these guys. Doesn't matter what we try to do, they're always there. Nice punt into the wind by Boyd. Fair catch made by Wilder at the Katy 44-yard line. That was an excellent punt by Boyd that time into the wind. 41 yards, 2:40 to go.
Well, as I mentioned before, I think the big surprise is the goose egg up there for Steele. That's just kind of that's what's kind of hard to wrap my head around here, my hands around, because you look at what Katy's done all season long. This is something that they're used to doing, is shutting out their opponents.
New quarterback is Hayden Baker. And a running play on first down for Page. Check it, that's not Page, that's a new running back as well. That's Wes Chance, the running back now. Some players getting a chance to play here in the final 2.5 minutes. The state semifinals for Gary Joseph and the Katy Tigers.
By the way, Katy shut out Kingwood, Fort Bend Travis, Maid Creek, Morton Ranch, Strake Jesuit, Tompkins, Cinco Ranch, Westside, Friendswood, and likely Cibilo Steele.
Yeah, you see the Steele fans applauding as some of their seniors, Isaiah Fields and Mark Jackson, coming off the field here. Under 2 minutes to go now. Chance with a running play. Hitting the hole and driven back. Taryn Morris making the hit and the stick. But, Katy's doing this against a Steele team that for the year averaged 42 points a game, 408 yards of total offense, and they have totally shut them down.
9 shutouts on the season. Really, the only two teams that have even been able to put up any kind of point totals, at least more than a touchdown, has been Manville and Cy Ranch this year on Katy.
Yeah, that Cy Ranch game was contentious at halftime, and Katy blew it open in the second half.
Yeah, 59-20 was that final.
So that's 3rd down and 8. Toss sweep for Chance. Got through one, got spun down to the turf at about the 47, 48-yard line as we approach 1 minute left in the game.
Katy jumped on Manville last week early.
21-0 in the first 8 minutes.
In the second half, is there a glimmer of hope for other teams, mainly, I guess, Lake Travis? What are they going to have to do to beat Katy if you look at what did Manville do in that second half?
Absolutely, Manville just kept to their game, and they never got De'Eric King, their outstanding quarterback, untracked. But they were able to do other things, play strong defense, and going down to the final 4 minutes of the ball game, Manville had the chance to make it a one-possession game with a field goal attempt from about 25 yards that got blocked. Had they made that inside the final 4 minutes of the game, then you get a chance for an onside kick or make a stop with your defense and have a chance to come back it was a one-possession game had they made the field goal. But special teams for Katy, as we mentioned, just so solid all the way around. Now as Katy takes the delay of game penalty, we'll get a punt here with 27 seconds left. Modest is the punter, and he's counting. He said, I need one more guy. And they run a player on. Steele not dropping anybody deep. Just let Modest kick it out of there. Wind at its back. Sails down to the 20-yard line. Here comes Katy to cover it, and they'll do it at the 1. Is there anything this team cannot do? 52-yard kick for Modest.
They are solid all the way around. Kicking game. Even the fans, how about that? Solid fan support on top of that.
You know, people wonder why, well, how does Katy get back here year after year after year? Well, I think you saw a great example of it in today's ball game. They just do not beat themselves. They had a couple of instances late in the first half and early in the third quarter where they had some penalties, but other than that, they have played a near perfect ball game.
Fresh squad out there in the field now for the last 14 seconds. But, you know, the Katy coaching staff, too. It's not just Gary Joseph. It's that offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, up and down the list. A lot of continuity with the assistant coaching staff at Katy.
New quarterback for Steele. It's David Reisner. Just a quarterback sneak, and that should be our final play of the game right there. And what an impressive second half effort by the Katy Tigers as they outscore the Steele Knights 28-0 here in the second half and roll to a 38-0 victory over the Steele Knights to go back to the state championship game yet again. See the teams going through the congratulatory handshake. John Harris waiting for our player of the game interview, and we'll get that to you momentarily. But what an outstanding effort by Gary Joseph's Katy Tigers today. I don't think anybody expected this battle of 14-0 teams to come to be one-sided. Everybody thought this would come down to the fourth quarter, and people tried to decide it. And it just wasn't going to happen, Jeff.
The adjustments that Katy made at halftime, sensational. The fact that Xavier Martin has just not been able to get that ankle back up to where it needs to be to play at this level, that's been a tough break for Cibilo Steele.
Took full advantage of that. Let's go down on the field. John Harris standing by with a victorious member. Not yet. Well, we see the celebration continue on the field. Katy cheerleaders, dance squad coming out, meet with their team.
The Bingle Brigade.
Well,
young Tigers.
You know, Lake Travis is going to have their hands full next week, Jeff, with this Katy team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they've had a great season, and obviously to get to the championship round, you know, you've got to accomplish a lot of things. But there's a lot that has to go into beating this Katy Tiger team. Let's go down on the field now for John Harris. John?
All right, guys, hopefully you hear me this time. I'm down here with player of the game, Giovanni Stewart. First question, Giovanni. Do you know how many shutouts your defense has had this year?
I'm guessing about 8 right now, 8 or 9.
That's pretty good that you know that. This one makes number 9. What a performance. First of all, take me through the tackle for a loss, scoop and score, touchdown. That just kind of broke the dam. Take me through that play.
Well, we prepared for it a lot in practice, and I saw the receiver that usually takes a sweep coming down, motioning, so I just took a lucky guess and made the play.
It was a big play at the time. Your entire defense saw Travis go out and take on number 7.
Yes,
but you guys tackle as well as any defense I've seen. What's the key for you guys? Is that it, that you guys are that good tackling in space?
Yes, sir. We just repetition in practice. We make sure we're a physical team. That's one thing that Coach Joseph preaches, and we execute it in game.
I would imagine going back to Houston is going to be doubly nice because you go home, you celebrate, but then you play for the state championship next Saturday. How's that feel?
It feels great. It feels great. I'm trying to win it this year.
I guess for you guys are on a mission, I would imagine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Giovanni Stewart, player of the game. Giovanni, good luck. Go celebrate your teammates. Guys.
All right, John, thanks very much. And as John mentioned,
Congratulations, man.
this Antonio, the 6A Division II semifinal goes the way of the Katy Tigers, 38-0 over the Steele Knights. So for John Harris and Jeff Power and our entire crew, Tom Franklin saying so long from Alamo Stadium. See you next week at Energy Stadium for championship weekend.